There is something about summer break in the 1970s that people who lived through it cannot forget. The endless days of freedom, the screen doors slamming behind you, the way time seemed to stretch forever between June and September. If you grew up then, you know exactly what made those summers so special. This was a time when kids disappeared after breakfast and came home when the streetlights came on. Parents did not know exactly where their children were, and somehow that was fine. Summer meant freedom in a way that seems almost impossible now. No cell phones, no scheduled activities every hour. Just long, hot days filled with whatever adventures kids could create for themselves. This was the decade that gave us slip and slides, big wheels, and nights chasing fireflies in mason jars. The summers before video games took over, before air conditioning was everywhere, before childhood became something that needed constant supervision. Let's walk through what summer break actually felt like during that golden decade. Some of this might bring back memories. Some of it might explain why people still talk about summers of the 1970s with such fondness. Let's step into that world. The last day of school in the 1970s felt like being released from prison. Kids would burst out of those heavy doors knowing that months of freedom stretched ahead. No homework, no alarm clocks, no responsibilities beyond basic chores. That feeling of walking home on the last day, the summer sun already hot, knowing tomorrow held nothing but possibility. It was almost overwhelming. Summer mornings started slow. Kids would sleep in, then shuffle to the kitchen for a bowl of sugary cereal. Captain Crunch, Fruit Loops, Count Chocula, the kind of cereals that turned the milk colorful. Mothers were not obsessing over nutrition. Breakfast was fuel for the summer adventures ahead. By mid-morning, kids were outside. The screen door would slam, and they were gone. Maybe on a bicycle, maybe on foot, but always moving. The neighborhood was the world, and every corner of it was worth exploring. Bicycles meant everything. A kid with a bike had freedom. Banana seats and high handlebars were the style. Kids would attach playing cards to the spokes with clothespins, making the bikes sound like motorcycles. No helmets. Nobody wore helmets. The idea would have seemed ridiculous. Groups of kids would ride for miles, exploring neighborhoods, finding creeks to wade in, and discovering abandoned lots that became secret hideouts. Parents had no idea where their children were for hours at a time. If something went wrong, you figured it out yourself, or you walked to a neighbor's house for help. The heat of 1970s summers was intense because most homes did not have central air conditioning. Window units cooled single rooms if families were lucky. Attic fans pulled air through the house. Kids adapted by finding water wherever they could. The sprinkler in the front yard was entertainment for hours. Kids ran back and forth through the cold spray, the grass getting muddy underneath. Slip and slides turned the backyard into a water park. There was a yellow plastic sheet, a thin stream of water from the hose, a running start, and the slide across wet plastic. Kids would do this for entire afternoons. Public pools were the center of summer social life. There was the smell of chlorine, the cold shock of jumping in, and the echo of voices off the water. Kids would spend entire days at the pool. Mothers would drop them off in the morning with a few dollars for the snack bar and pick them up in the late afternoon, sunburned and exhausted. The ice cream truck was summer's soundtrack. That distant music getting closer, the frantic search for change, the sprint down the street hoping to catch it before it turned the corner. Bomb pops, push-ups, strawberry shortcake bars. Eating them fast before they melted in the heat, the sticky juice running down your arm. Before we continue with the games and adventures that filled those long summer days, if you are enjoying this look back at how childhood really felt and want to explore more decades and memories, consider subscribing. There are so many more stories about how Americans grew up and lived. Neighborhood games filled the hours between swimming and dinner. Kick the can, capture the flag, ghosts in the graveyard, Red Rover. These games required nothing but other kids and imagination. Teams were chosen on the spot. Rules were negotiated. Arguments were settled among the players themselves. Hide and seek at dusk was magical. The fading light made hiding easier. Backyards and bushes became perfect concealment. The thrill of hiding in the growing darkness, heart pounding, listening for the seeker. These games could go on until parents started calling kids home for dinner. Evening was when the firelights came out, catching them in mason jars, watching them glow, then letting them go. The blinking lights across lawns and fields on warm summer nights. It was free entertainment that required nothing but patience and cupped hands. Family road trips were how Americans saw their country. Station wagons packed with suitcases, coolers in the back, kids sprawled across bench seats with no seat belts. No GPS, just paper maps that fathers would argue over while mothers navigated from the passenger seat. The car did not have air conditioning, or if it did, parents would not use it because it wasted gas. Windows down, hot air blowing through, kids fighting over who sat where. Kids would ask the question, "Are we there yet?" 1,000 times. Motels along the highway with swimming pools were the highlight. After hours in a hot car, jumping into a motel pool felt like paradise. Eating at roadside diners, sleeping in rooms that smelled like cigarette smoke, watching television that only got a few channels. Drive-in. In movies were summer magic. Families would pack the car with pillows and blankets, pick up hamburgers on the way, and park in front of the big screen. Kids in pajamas watching movies under the stars. The speaker that hung on the car window. The playground below the screen where kids played before the movie started. Summer television meant reruns. The same shows that played during the school year came back in summer. 3 channels, maybe 4. Saturday morning cartoons were sacred. Scooby-Doo, The Flintstones, Speed Racer, Hong Kong Phooey. Kids woke early on Saturday mornings just to watch, even though there was no school to wake up for. The library summer reading program was how many kids discovered books. There was a challenge to read a certain number and prizes for reaching the goals. Walking to the library, checking out stacks of books, reading under trees or on porches during the hottest part of the day when even playing outside was too much. The 4th of July was the peak of summer. Parades down Main Street, picnics in backyards and parks, and the long anticipation of fireworks after dark. Kids waved sparklers, writing their names in light. The booms of fireworks overhead, the colors reflected in upturned faces. Sunburns were constant because sunscreen was not a habit. Mothers might apply some lotion before a day at the pool, but reapplication was not considered. Kids got burned, peeled, and turned brown over the course of summer. Mosquito bites covered bare legs. Calamine lotion was applied at night, pink and chalky. Summer had a rhythm. The long days of early summer felt endless. By August, something shifted. The light changed. School supplies appeared in stores. The knowledge that freedom was ending created a bittersweet urgency. Kids squeezed every last adventure from those final weeks. What defined summers in the 1970s was freedom, real freedom. The freedom to be bored and figure out what to do about it. The freedom to roam without supervision. The freedom to take risks, make mistakes, and handle problems without adult intervention. Kids learned independence by having it. The summers were hot. The houses were not air-conditioned. The cars were not comfortable. But none of that mattered, because the days belonged to kids in a way they rarely do anymore. For those who spent their childhood summers in the 1970s, those memories remain vivid. The taste of Kool-Aid, the sound of the ice cream truck, the feeling of grass under bare feet, the way the streetlights coming on meant the day was finally over. For those with memories of these endless summer days, there is always more history to explore.